I am the SIO, the Senior Investigating Officer this evening, Monica Clark. I am leading this investigation into the missing person case, and our missing person is Jessica Moran. If you could all have a look at the board. She is female, she is 18. Jessica has no known mental health history. We are going to start off your investigation, this is your investigation, with a witness statement from her father, Brian Moran.
Thinking about it now, she might have been a bit distracted, a bit distant. I just want her back.
Place, time, motivation. Okay, and then I can action a search team before they hold this press conference. So crack on with it. Can we all gather round? We've got some more video testimony.
I thought it was a little bit weird that she didn't turn up to our leaving party.
Jess was saying that she couldn't afford to buy a round because she uses her wages to help out at home. You know, things are tight at home. Her mum's not around.
What was happening in her life at that time that made her want to leave?
An older, perhaps relative in a picture.
The A-level results we got as well, which was BBC. So she clearly hadn't got what she needed for university.
Okay. Oh, can somebody get that phone? Right, did you hear that? We've got 7 minutes before they call the press conference.
We've got a little pendant with 2 kissing flamingos and a little shell.
Location, we've got a time.
What's the motivation? That is enough for me to go and action a search team. Thank you. You have been absolutely fantastic. I'm going to go and do that now. Thank you very much.
Good teamwork, interactive experience.
Thought-provoking.
It was quite relevant within today, and that could probably link to a few things that people are currently feeling.
More grown up and there's hormones everywhere, and you might fall out with friends or grow apart from friends and break up with whoever you might be dating.
Quite exciting and a little bit stressful when they started to say we only had so long left, so we had to rush and then started making friends with other teams and just did it all together.
I really liked it, yeah, because I didn't know there were going to be telephone calls, and that was quite like a different thing, and I quite liked the idea of having a box and then having to find the key.
If you want to get to know someone or have a bonding activity with friends or something, could be good as that because you've got to work as a team.
Missing is an interactive, playful theatre experience about youth loneliness, which Manchester Met have been researching.
You also have an underlying structure of how the piece progresses and how the participants interact with objects, with evidence, with all the things that are presented to them. And that is really built on ideas that come from games. So we actually used a card game very, very early on as a basis of exchanging pieces of information and getting people to cooperate.
An immersive space where young people could almost carry on researching and investigating for themselves whilst taking part in almost a real life missing person scenario.
It wasn't just the grades or the cafe job or Katie getting with Simon. It was everything all at once. And I felt so stuck.
Instead of there being just one main story, there are multiple strands of narrative. So there's a strand around education, there's a strand around her work life, there's a strand around her friendship and relationships.
Video testimonies, you have things like letters, you have little memories that are important to her, you have her diary. And these are really the items that the players use to uncover Jessica's story. And we also worked with the young people that were part of the research to help us kind of create this world of objects that might be around a young person. So we asked them what's in their bag, for example.
The creative team were in charge of the creative elements in that they developed concepts, but they constantly came back to young people to concept check. So it's that model of socially engaged practice where it's artist led, but it was very young people focused.
We designed small sort of activities, and then we play tested them with audiences of young people from 42nd Street. Then we analyse how they react, and then we go back to the design and we adapt the design.
Having a responsive piece like that really taps into the experiences of young people, but also it just, in a way, pushes them to engage. And that, I think, gives young people a very different access to a difficult story. They don't just listen and sort of get showered with information.
Things like backpacks, make sure you've searched every pocket. I can't bear sloppy searching.
When the co-op approached the MMU around doing a project around peer research, MMU automatically thought of us as a really good partnership so that they could come with all the kind of academic rigour and research rigour that was needed for the project, and we could come with our expertise around mental health and our empowerment around young people.
What we wanted to do is take that research and communicate what it feels like to be lonely without just writing a report or asking someone to read about it. We really thought that loneliness is something that has to be experienced.
Not just a very traditional form of research, but do something more engaging that will allow us to really get beneath the surface.
We developed a group of peer researchers and looked at some emerging themes, and they really lended themselves to doing something really creative with them to disseminate what we'd already found out, but also to collect more data and information and feedback from young people around the UK.
We went to Rhyl, we went to Ballymena, we went to Great Yarmouth and Norwich, and we went to Glasgow.
Within the regular group of peers who met here at 42nd Street, the conversations were very rich and ranging, from popular culture, Harry Potter, to Gil Scott Heron, to The Maker, which is a video on our homepage on the 42nd Street website.
One of the themes that emerged from the research was transitions or changes in someone's life, so that's really where we've kind of honed in. But there were other themes such as the emergence of sexual identity, economic pressures that led young people to express that they were feeling lonely or isolated.
It's unusual to give something over and have an artist come in and make sense of it, and I think at first I didn't quite understand what they were trying to do, and gradually we would like workshop the ideas, and we came to kind of like trust one another. And I think that's, it was a really really great experience.
We offer the work for the audience, and then afterwards there's a post-show conversation which we structure around the themes of the show. It serves as a kind of reference point so that people who want to express an opinion or a thought, they don't own that lonely feeling. They reference the show, so it's easier for them to talk about this quite vulnerable emotional state.
It's a really excellent example of integrating social science and humanities research with creative practice.
Understanding how people related to it, how they took something from the play, like going to see a grandmother if you were unhappy, or childhood memories, and really how these kind of might help us understand the really challenging issue of youth loneliness.
It spans psychology, sociology, philosophy, religion, popular culture. It really cuts at what it means to be human.
This is a quite intensive and some might say quite expensive way of working, and quite a model for a project. However, I think the quality of the research justifies our approach.
It's possible to talk about these difficult subjects in an ordinary everyday way and not treat it as a medical condition.
You can be lonely and be totally well in your mental health, and they're separate issues in some ways, but some loneliness can lead to some mental health issues and some anxieties, and again that comes out in the report.
Talking about the real, sometimes very abstract questions around meaning and experience are very difficult, and those peers courageously, voluntarily decided to do that week in, week out.
The most credit needs to go to the young people at 42nd Street and to Curtis, who's led that group brilliantly throughout the year and a half. And what they've contributed to us at 42nd Street, they're amazing, our young people, amazing.
I'm coming home soon, and when I do, I want things to be different. I just don't know where to start. What can I do? And what can you do?
%65% of young people are describing their day-to-day experiences as lonely, and 32% of young people are describing their day-to-day experiences as often lonely or with a key word associated with loneliness.